Let's start with a quick background. I began my career in well-being on the provider side. We had a small chain of wellness centers in the Puget Sound area, and what we learned very quickly was that the patient experience was a key driver towards better outcomes, far more than just the intervention itself. This aligned really well with the work we saw from Nobel Peace Prize winner Candace Pert, who made the breakthrough connection between our limbic system and our immune system. That connection plays a critical part in our ability to fight off disease. In other words, happier people have more white blood cells, a primary defense system in the body. We also learned that since people only interacted with the health system on an episodic basis, for example, only when they were sick, they were limiting their understanding of the daily behaviors that contributed either positively or negatively toward overall health. As we entered the corporate well-being space, we were shocked at the disconnected and alienating experience. It was right then we decided to build the most inclusive, connected experience by igniting the whole population to be the best they can be. We call this the Be Great at Anything experience. Simply put, changing anything in your life, whether it's your career or your health, requires behavior change. And we've been working on that behavior change model for over 25 years. Fast forward to today, as it turns out, we now have a massive ally, consumers. Well-being is a $4.2 trillion industry. We have whole categories and brands competing and differentiating with well-being. Everything from airlines, hotels, restaurants, to well-being as a tourism subsegment. We have consumers making buying and career decisions based on well-being, choosing to use their dollars to vote for sustainability and personal health. So naturally, we would find it quite amazing that there is no clear solution winner in corporate well-being, even after more than 30 years. With the explosion of technology and digital health, the innovation and traction is still less than stellar. We have zeroed in our focus on this topic and concluded that the industry is still very alienating, disconnected, and wrought with extrinsic rewards. At Aduro, we continue to double down on well-being. We entered this market on the promise of proactive well-being for everyone, and today there's so much opportunity to get this right. I'm excited to share that we have 3 critical factors as we think about winning in well-being. First, holistic, second, intrinsic, and thirdly, native. Holistic. This means the whole person and the whole population, not just those at risk. This inclusive approach meets people where they are with the things that are most important to them when the time is right. Intrinsic. We simply need to stop paying folks to jump through the corporate wellness compliance hoops. This is probably the toughest one, but exactly where most of the opportunity lies. Native. Coming from the provider side of things, this is the most exciting. What native means here is that the experience stays with one coordinated team working with you from one source of truth. Okay, so let's dig into each one. Whole person. We know this phrase is a bit overplayed, but if done right, it is certainly one of the keys to initiating long-term behavior change. We gained deep insights from analyzing 10 years of coaching calls to find out the exact paths where people took true change. You will notice we went broad in the sense of topics: health, finance, career, and purpose. But we also went vertical. For health, think health opportunities. And for fitness, think peak performance. For money, think budgeting. And for prosperity, think legacy, trusts, and estates. For growth, think personal growth, like goal setting. And for development, think career development with content around management and leadership. And for contribution, think how are we giving back versus sustainability, which is how are you preserving the environment. This inclusive approach truly drives engagement. Last year, we asked 44,000 users how motivated they were to change something in their life. 88% responded 8 or higher, that they were motivated to change something in their life. 52% answered their motivation to change something fell outside of the health category. Interestingly, when we compared that data with the actual health risks in an organization, we learned that more than half of those risks came from the population that is not focused on health. So why on earth would any organization focus exclusively on health and exclude these folks? Intrinsic. Our solution is focused on unlocking a person's intrinsic motivation. We may still need to jumpstart motivation with extrinsic rewards, but ultimately, ongoing engagement needs to come from an individual's desire to make changes in their own life. Each person is encouraged to focus on what matters to them, and then we nudge them towards areas we know they need to work on. Native. App fatigue is a real thing. We have so many apps competing for our time, and there is real anxiety about downloading yet another. Frankly, the lack of coordination between your health apps is scary. You may be working with a coach on diabetes and having another digital experience to tackle stress. Then at home you start a program preparing healthy meals and they all give you conflicting advice. When will there be an experience where the consumer and their relevant lifestyle and health data is at the center? At Eduro, we believe that time is now. We've built a native experience that coordinates resources and individuals and puts their interests front and center.